Welcome back to another episode of Uploaded and Unfiltered, the podcast in which I, your host Jermaine, interviews another content creator in regards to their journey thus far. This week, as most weeks, I have a special guest on the line. Before we get them on and have a great conversation, I'm going to read their bio, get a little bit of information on them, and then we'll get this thing started. Stroopwaffel is 38 years old, born in Detroit and raised in Rochester, New York. He comes from a music background and has also worked as a photographer. Throughout it all, he's always been a gamer. And with that, I'd like to introduce my guest for the evening. Stroop, welcome to the podcast. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I appreciate you for having me, bro.
Hey, no problem at all. I'm glad we were able to knock this out quickly. This is one of the quickest turnarounds that I've had in a while, so I appreciate your effort on this.
Yeah, of course, man. You know, I like to stay on the top of the work.
Yes.
You know, so these opportunities, you can't pass them.
Exactly. And with that, you know what? Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Stroop, how did you get started in content creation? What is your origin story?
As far as the gaming side of things, this all started back during the whole COVID situation. Mm-hmm. I was a console gamer and I was watching a commercial for Valorant for about the 47th time. And we were sitting there. I mean, we were getting crazy checks every week, you know, just to be at home. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should just take some of this money and buy a PC. And I did. And I started playing Valorant and I started messing around, just going through Steam and seeing all the games that they had to offer. And then I was like, well, since I'm sitting here, maybe we'll do some YouTube stuff. And it just kind of escalated from there.
Okay. Wow. That, you know what? A lot of people, it seems like COVID, everybody was at home. They really have nothing to do. And I feel like that sparked a lot of people's creative juices. They're like, you know what? Let me do something with this time.
Yeah, I mean, it was just really sitting there with all that idle time of just staring at a television or reading a book or whatever the case may be. I think a lot of us just had to find some type of outlet. And I figured I was already gaming. And it's like, you know, on console, man, you're extremely limited. Mm-hmm. So making that crossover to PC, I think was probably the best decision I've ever made.
Yeah, for sure. I try to tell everybody, I used to be a console only. Every time one came out, I'd pick up them all. This next go around, I think I might get the Switch 2 and that's it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Like, I don't not getting consoles, but I'm 100% a full supporter of just playing on the PC.
Oh, yeah. 100. And like, don't 100%. Get me wrong. I'm going through an issue right now. I'm playing Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Every time I get 5 minutes in that game, my computer crashes. And I'm like, I don't want to troubleshoot this.
Yeah, man, I mean, you know, it comes with the territory a little bit.
That's true, but it's worth it. Like those visuals, I can't knock that. So when you first started, was there any hesitation into jumping on camera or showing up in these spaces, or how did that look for you?
Not really. I mean, ever since I was probably about 13, I've always been on stage. I said, because I started with music a very, very, very long time ago as a much younger man. So I used to, you know, battle rap in front of the school crowd and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I used to do a lot of poetry writing. And then my English teacher, Miss Morano, shouts to her, she really pushed me on those efforts. Mm-hmm. So I spent a lot of time on stages and in front of big crowds. So it just never really bothered me to be on camera or be around a bunch of different people.
Okay, that's solid.
I was always, I've been used to it for a very long time.
Perfect. So there's no hesitate. Like, that's one of the biggest things that newer content creators, like, they don't want to show up on camera. But once you get past that, like, sky's the limit. Yeah,
it really is. But it is one of the most important pieces because it's the best way to get people to connect to who you are as a person. Mm-hmm. You know, your face says a lot.
Yeah. Agree, especially when you're black, because there's not many of us out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, there's another one. All right.
Yeah. Like, oh, he's one of what they always say, he's so well spoken.
Right? Oh, my God. I hate that shit. Oh.
But anyways.
Yeah. I need to know because I teased this at the beginning before we started, but Stroopwaffel, where did this name come from? What's the origin of this?
Man, it's funny. It's really simplistic. Every time I tell somebody, they're like, that's it. I'm like, yeah, that's it. I'm a big man. I like food. I like cookies. I like stuff. And I spent some time in the Netherlands, nice chunk of time. And every morning we would get coffee. And this girl I used to know, she would get the Stroopwaffel cookies. They're like wafers with caramel in the middle. She'd put it on top of the coffee. She let it sit. She eat breakfast, blah, blah, blah. And then she kind of drink her coffee and eat it at the same time. And it was incredible. So when I came back to the States, I would buy them all the time, like through Walmart or whatever.
Right.
And one of the guys I gamed with a lot, my man Doug, we were talking one day during this COVID stuff, and I was telling him about kind of sort of getting into YouTube. But at the time, my username was That's My Purse, which was like a King of the Hill reference.
Okay.
But I knew I couldn't use that. I was like, I don't want to get in trouble, you know?
Yeah.
And then somehow we got on the subject about something, just something food related. And I was talking, I think, a cookie debate. And I said it was the best cookie ever. Like we talked for like 2 hours about it. And then after that, yeah, I was like, you know what? I think that might actually be a good YouTube name.
That's dope.
I said, because it would be so random. And it's just kind of stuck since then.
And it's easy to like, because I was, this was probably 10 years ago when I had my first Stroopwaffel. I just randomly picked it up. I'm like, all right, I want something sweet. And then I read the package, it's like, put this on top of your coffee. Well, it like melts the caramel in it. I don't know what it does, but oh my God.
It slaps, man.
When I saw your name, I was like, ain't no way.
It's funny. All my Doge folks, they're always like, I can tell you're serious because of that piece. Because most people just eat them out the package. So when you mention that, like, nah, you put it on top of a hot cup of coffee or a hot tea, and you just let it sit. They're like, oh yeah, okay, now this guy, he knows his stuff. Yeah, man.
That hits different.
It's different.
All right, Stroop, we're going to switch gears here. I'm very interested in everybody who comes on the podcast. My whole goal in life is to get content creators to think more about their mindset, more about being consistent and the things that they're doing so they can show up as their authentic self. And I feel like all the content I've seen, I'll stress this by saying I've only seen the TikTok stuff because that's where I've been mostly, but every video you put up, I feel you in it. It feels like it's genuine. It feels like it's coming from the heart. So my question is, what is your current mindset in regards to the content you're putting out now? And where do you see yourself in, like, let's say 3 to 6 months?
Well, I mean, when I first started doing it, I was kind of following the trend of just putting out gameplay clips, trying to do, you know, funny stuff, blah, blah. But as I got into the space and really started, like, I went on a really weird dive through like comments on games that were coming out. And I just started seeing that same regurgitated nonsense that everybody always says about stuff. Like, you know, this is a clone and this is going to die and this and that. And I'm like, what the heck has happened to the gaming community? Like, no one seems to enjoy gaming at all anymore.
Right.
And it kind of, a fork in the road came up for me. Like, I can keep doing this whole funny stuff or I can start talking about these issues. And then I've always just been told the way I talk, it just comes off like it's funny to people, but it always feels genuine because I'm not very good at sugarcoating how I feel because my dad wasn't like that. My grandfather was never like that. So I don't know how to do it as well, you know?
Right.
So once I knew that, I said, okay, well, let's start testing the waters here. And I did. I was doing like green screen videos when it came to talking about gaming subjects, etc. But I felt like it was a little bit too profane, which I got a lot of, and I kind of want to segue from that.
Yep.
And then I met this guy named the Mindful Gamer. Now, mind you, I met a lot of good people, but the Mindful Gamer, I always bring him up and give him the most credit because the content that you see now, 100% kind of gave me the key to make it that way.
Okay.
He had a conversation with me of like, man, you really need to start connecting people to your journey and maybe start a series to help bring people in to want to be a part of your journey. That's why I have the whole like Break the Cycle series now and the Let's Talk About It and stuff. None of that existed before this man. So, you know, I give all credits due over to his way.
Yeah.
But I'd say in the next 3 to 6 months, the way that I'm doing content now, I really think I'm just going to keep on that path in that direction of that, you know, how I'm doing things. So I'm hoping in the next 6 months, man, we finally hit this 10K on TikTok. We hit the 10K on YouTube. We build a bigger community. We get more and more people back to just enjoying games and thinking for themselves and stop regurgitating the same crap they hear on the internet just because it sounds cool and just start enjoying games again, you know?
Yeah.
These are my hopes anyway.
No, I love that. There was probably a couple years ago, I noticed a weird trend. Every time I said I liked something, it didn't matter what it was. I was like, oh man, I'm really enjoying this. And I was streaming on Twitch. There would always be at least 1 or 2 or maybe 3 people I hate this, and explain why they hate this. And I've noticed it not just in gaming, just like in life. Like when you are happy about something, there will be at least one person is going to try to shit on it. And I never understood that. Like when, let's say you were playing something that I don't like, I would ask you like, so why do you enjoy this? Like what makes it fun to you? Because I'm interested in the like positive side. I don't really get like, I'm not going to come to you and be like, yo, I hate this shit and shit on it. And so, see, I think it was a piece like that I saw from you. I was like, oh shit, somebody else is saying things that I've been thinking. And I think that's the biggest, like bonus, I guess, of putting out content like that. Cause you never know A, who's watching, and B, who that's going to resonate with.
And that is my thought process. Because for me, I don't make my content for me. I make it to just see who does it resonate with, because I know there's people out there that feel this way, and they're fearful of kind of saying it because of how people are on the internet.
Right.
But for me, like I said, what really helped me push through and go, you know what, I'm going to continue doing things this way is when I would make these type of videos and people would leave those same old low level brow comments, I would always ask, instead of getting mad, I started asking, articulate your point.
Yes.
Elaborate. And not a single person ever was able to do so.
Exactly.
They either said something toxic or they didn't speak again at all. And I was like, this is what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm just going to stay on the path I am.
Hell yeah.
Because, you know.
Yeah, people don't like pushback. They're like, oh wait, you're questioning my one throwaway comment that I'm supposed to leave and just go about my day?
About my day. Yeah. No, buddy. Articulate the point.
Yeah. No, they don't like that. They don't like that at all. Okay, that's dope. I love that. It aligns with like everything that I've been trying to do for the last couple of years. So like we are out here, we're watching. And that's wild that you mentioned the mindful gamer, because I haven't talked to him yet. I want to. I'm going to have a conversation with him at some point. But like the way that he first started, like I saw when he was like, he didn't have that many followers, and I instantly fell in love with his content because it was real. He was talking about some of his struggles. And now that you mention giving your story to bring people in, that's what he did. I was walking through the city and like learning about his life. And I'm like, oh, this is dope.
Yeah, he's very good. What I love about the Mindful Gamer is he's one of those people. First off, he has a very extensive vocabulary, right? But he's also still like cool black guy. So it's like you put these two together. He's very good at making his point in a way that almost makes you feel kind of goofy. Mm-hmm. Like, God, the man just beat me down with just pure logic. And he doesn't do it on purpose. Right? He's just that well spoken and just that good at just saying how he feels about something. Mm-hmm. And I think that's probably one of my favorite things about the guy, man.
100%.
I really hope you get a chance to talk with him, man.
Oh, it's going to happen.
It would be great.
It is going to happen. Now, because he's been on the list for a while, but so I started this podcast almost 2 years ago in July, and my goal was have Black conversations with Black creators so we can have more people out there, so the younger generation could be like, oh, wow, I didn't know these people existed.
Yeah.
But it was more selfish than that. For me, like doing the podcast helped me get into consistency. And so for the last 97 weeks, I put up an episode every week. I haven't missed a week just to show myself that I could do it.
Yeah, man.
And then once you get into that rhythm, once you get into that groove, and once it becomes a habit, like there's nothing to it. Like let's say we didn't have a podcast today. I would just jump on at like 11 at night, speak some stuff, like say something that's been on my mind, cut it up, edit it, throw it up. It's an episode. Mm-hmm. And it's that easy. Like content creation can be that easy once you have the right systems in place to get things done.
I mean, it is. I've been living by the philosophy for the last 5 years. Every single thing we do, every decision, opinion you make, it's all simple. We as humans just complicate stuff. Mm-hmm. But everything's always something simple. If you want to learn how to play basketball, you pick up a ball and you shoot. The thing where you start getting messed up is like, well, I'm not tall enough or I'm not fast. See, and then there goes the complications. If you were just to remove that and just pick up the ball and shoot, you'd be much further along.
100%. 100%. This is a perfect segue into lessons learned. I feel, what is a lesson that you have learned personally that came out of creating content?
I'd say one of my biggest things I learned was properly using my emotion when I make content.
Okay.
Because I can be a passionate guy and I'm very outspoken. I mean, I'm not a loud screaming person, but how I feel, I have no problem with. You know what I mean? Like, if you say something to me, I have no problem letting you know exactly how I feel about it. And the way that I grew up, you know, my dad and my uncles and, they from Detroit, man. They need some, so it's like,
I could guess.
It doesn't come off always as friendly as it should be. And I had to really learn, like, you can't, approach that way at all times, that harshness. So you have to figure out a way to put your passion out there in a way that will, people can digest it a little softer. Mm. I really think that also helped a lot for me because I used to get that a lot in my comments, like,
gotcha.
So
did you take that lesson into real life now?
Absolutely.
Okay. That's
absolutely.
Dope.
Yeah. Because like I said, man, when I speak to people and they have something to say to me that I feel like is a little judgmental or they're being emotional about it, I always remember that, okay, well, articulate your point piece. Mm-hmm. And once I just started realizing most people don't have much to say, it's just that bare raw emotion. I started realizing, like, this is what I was also doing. Yep. I'm like, it's not good. I said, so now we're chilling.
Okay. Dope. I like that. That's the first time I've heard that. Emotional regulation, basically. Very dope. All right, let's go ahead and move on to words of advice. This is where I have this section open to whoever you want to give advice to. New streamers, old streamers, anybody in between. What is a piece of advice that you would like to give to those people?
I'd say, one, consistency is definitely key. I know a lot of bigger creators and people always say that, but that's just because it is true. Mm-hmm. And you have no excuse not to not make content. Like, I hear that all the time where I can't find the time, but I'm like, hey man, well, did you go home and sit down and watch TV for an hour? Well, yeah, but I just got off work. Okay, well, you had an hour to make content and you chose not to do it. Nobody said that this stuff was supposed to be just easy and lackadaisical. It requires effort if it's something that you really want to do. Now, if you're not serious about it, that's one thing. And anybody who's serious about it, you can always find time every single day to work on some type of content. If you say and that's not true, you're lying, or you're just not that serious about it. So I think that's my biggest piece of advice, because you really have to make as much as you can, because practice makes perfect. Yes. You'll never learn how to improve on it. You'll never figure out how to make it any better whatsoever if you're making a video that's 45 seconds long once every 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. There's nothing to be learned there. So that would be it for me.
I love that. I've been trying to think of a succinct way to get this information out. And I'm just going to keep saying it until I'm blue in the face. I mean, I guess I can't bleed blue in the face. I don't know why I said that shit. I hate old sayings. Anyway, but the piece that you said, like, practice makes perfect. My YouTube channel is mad old, like 2006. And I ignored it for a while. But as I look back at the history of all the videos I made, I can see the progress. I can see where I learned new editing styles. I can see where I learned how to finally duck the music under my audio. Thumbnail game was getting better. And if you don't put out a video, put yourself on a consistent, let me do a video a week. That video a week, at the end of the year, that's 52 videos, 52 opportunities where you learn something.
Absolutely.
And just that in itself, I was like, you know what? Yes. And the bonus point is if you're making evergreen content, meaning something that I made an OBS tutorial on how to do vertical streaming 2 years ago. That video is still getting hits. That's what the consistency comes. Long tails, people will go back through your old content. And personally, I love if I find a new creator, I just found Stroop not too long ago. I'm going through his whole back out. I'm going to his very first video on TikTok and I'm just scrolling. That's fun to me. And you get so much information. You get to see the growth of this person. And I think that's exciting. So when you're out there thinking about, oh, I don't want to make this video, remember that the person's out there is going to watch all of your content and then for lack of a better word, fall in love with who you are as a person. And then that's it. They're in your community.
Sure will, man. The biggest thing I preach, when I'm streaming and stuff and people ask me this thing, I'm like, hey man, you really need to figure out and define what success means for you. Because I think that's another big problem with people. They want to get into this space and then they feel like their mindset is Kai Cenat level of money. Like, I want $3 million every month. I need Cuban chains. I want a Benz. I want and I'm like, dude, that's just not fathomable for everybody. But imagine if you were making content and you were making an extra $5,000 or $6,000 a month just
easy.
Like, that's actually really decent money.
Right.
And I said, people don't think about this stuff. You immediately jump from where you are at a level to Bill Gates type of thoughts. And it's like, where's all the in between? Exactly. Got to think about the in between, man. That's why I say for me, look, if we make this and it becomes bigger than, whatever, cool. But if this turns out to make me like 7 or even 10 grand a month, I am chilling. I'm happy. There's no complaints there. I don't need nothing. Over that, not a dollar more. Shoot, man.
And I don't think people realize how close 10K a month for, I would even say a smaller content creator. I've talked to a lot of brand agencies and people who work with content creators to get products out there. And she was telling me, she's like, all right, so there's a streamer on Twitch. He has 750 followers. He gets probably like an average of like 6 or 7 views or 6 or 7 concurrent viewers a stream. They cut this man $1,000 check to make a like hour-long stream about some game. Those stack up. And the only reason that he got it is because he's very personable. He, like, when you watch him, he's very engaging. He has a lot of energy. And so what happened was, because they are a bigger brand, they sent people to his stream. So when they were doing the sponsorship, he had like 100, 200 people in there. Granted, that was not his community, but it's up to him to like convert those people to his community. So he got paid and he got an extra like 100, 200 people in his stream. And he was chilling. And I was like, that's like, people don't know that those opportunities are out there. You think you got to have like 4,000 people watching you and all that shit. That's not true.
And that's it. But you'll never know that if you're not out here making content every day. Exactly. You will never find that out.
Yes.
And that's where the problem lies.
100%. The worst thing is to be at the end of the year and you only put up 3 videos on your YouTube channel, knowing good and well that you could have had like 49 more bangers out there.
Seriously.
So yeah, get started. Be consistent. I love that. I've got to remind myself of that sometimes.
Yeah, man. We all do.
Stroop, thank you for this conversation. I knew it was going to be dope just based on the conversation or the content that you put out there for the people. But I truly appreciate you coming through, and I got to give you opportunity to brag about all of your socials. You have anything coming up? The floor is yours.
Absolutely, man. First, appreciate you for having me, right?
For sure.
But right now, it's really, like I said, we're just trying to grow the TikTok and the YouTube, man. So TikTok.com/CDaddyChill, YouTube.com/StroopwaffleYT. The TikTok has tons of content, as you've seen, about just the healthiness and positivity in gaming and just bringing some awareness to the tropes that we're all falling under that need to go away. And the YouTube just has tons and tons of new and upcoming games. If you're tired of playing Apex and Fortnite every single day, and you're looking for something different, you can definitely hit the YouTube and go learn about something new. But that's pretty much it for me. At this point, we're just praying we get into the stream university.
You know what I'm saying?
So, Kai, where you at? Are you listening? Because
please,
shit, hook your boy up, man. I know I'm old. Don't worry about it.
Everybody, if you're a content creator, I highly suggest, I don't know if they still have applications open, but just go put it in. Like, you never know what's going to happen.
So I'm telling you, we can't miss them opportunities.
Exactly. And this one's just out there. There's enough people screaming about it. Your brain should be like, you know what? I'll just put it in. If I get it, I get it. If I don't, it was an opportunity.
That's right.
For everybody else out there, thank you for listening. If you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast, Uploaded and Unfiltered. We do this weekly. And you can also leave me a message. I believe in the description of this podcast, you can send a message to the podcast. I will answer it online, depending on the nature of question. But it's unfiltered. I'll probably answer it anyways. Other than that, Stroop, again, thank you. I can't wait to see what you do next. And I do plan on having more panel style podcasts. So because you are up there in age with me, I do want to have an older content creator puts like a panel with 2 or 3 people and we just talk about the things that we see from our perspective. And I think that would be a dope conversation. So if you're down, I will send you the invite.
Yeah, man, I'm in. I think it would be great.
All right, dope. Well, other than that, y'all know what it is. Share this with another content creator who can get some benefits from these conversations. And other than that, protect your mental, keep creating content, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.